Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Lisa is away doing things with her daughters right now for school, being a mom and doing mom things, so I'm covering for her today, and she'll be back next week. So we've got a couple of things coming up, and first off is Bring a Friend Week, which starts on December 14th and goes till the 20th. So you have a whole week to bring whoever you want, as many times as you want, to all the classes that you want for free, so now they don't have an excuse not to come. Because they get the free rental mat, and they come in, and they get to come to class for free, so it's like no excuses. Plus, if you've got family or friends coming in town for the holiday, you can bring them along and not miss your yoga. So let's get started in child's pose. Feet together at the back of your mat, knees nice and wide. And then we've also got one more thing coming up. Next Saturday, the 13th, I'll be teaching the community class, and we're doing something a little bit different this time. So normally community class supports Africa Yoga Project, and all the donations go there. And this time, in honor of Caleb Walker, we're going to support A Week Away, which is a nonprofit foundation that he created for families who are battling cancer. So all of the proceeds will go to his foundation. And if you have any more questions about that or want to make a donation because you're not going to be able to make it to class, just let me know afterwards and we can take care of that. So take a few moments here to press each one of your fingertips down into the ground and let your hips be super heavy on your heels. So everything can melt down into the floor and defrost because it's getting kind of chilly outside. Now start to create a powerful breath. Long inhales that completely fill up your chest, and loud exhales that allow you to sync up with the person next to you and sync up with the person across the room so that when you need a little bit of extra support, you've got somebody there to hold you up. And when you can give a little extra support because you've got extra, you can hand it to somebody else. Make your breath louder. Start to fill the space with the sound of your breath. So your breath not only fills your lungs, but your entire body, all the way out to your fingertips and your toes. And make your way to downward facing dog. Take your breath with you and move your body around. Bend your knees, shake your head out, yes and no. Whatever you've been carrying through the week, shake out in your down dog now so that your practice can be light. And bring your feet to hip, a little bit wider than hip width distance apart, like mat width distance almost. Come up onto your tippy toes and drop your heels over to the right. Stretch out the whole side of your body. So your feet are in line, blade edge and blade edge. And then if you want a little extra stretch in your left side waist, you can come up onto your left fingertips. So the stretch happens all the way from the edge of your fingertips to your hip. Come back through center, drop your heels to the opposite side. Open up your side waist. Come back to center and lower your heels back to the earth. And send your right leg up to the sky. Heel towards your butt, open your hip. Lots of space. Bring your breath into it. Wake up your foot, wake up your toes. And both palms still firmly on the mat. Anchor them down. Straighten out your leg. Place your foot down. Send your left leg up to the sky. Heel towards your butt, open your hip. You can roll your ankle around if you want to. Keep your left palm connected to the earth. And straighten out your leg. Place your foot down. Take a long breath in through your nose. And let it out through your mouth. And step forward, feet to hands. Hang in ragdoll. Get softness in your knees. Soft joints so you can coax your tailbone up to the ceiling. Probably more bend in your knees than you will for the rest of your class, a lot. Give yourself a break so your whole upper body can fold over your legs. And then bring some awareness into what's going on in your feet. And notice if you've got more weight on the outer edge of your foot or the inner edge and balance it out. All four corners of your feet down at the same time. And release your hands down. Keep the bend in your knees and press into your feet as you rise up to standing. Keep the bend in your knees. Use your feet. Reach your hands way up to the sky. And bring your thumbs to your heart. Set an intention for your practice. Choose anything you want. A single word, a phrase, something that you've been working on lately. We'll sound out all those intentions with 3 ohms. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold, drape down. Halfway lift, lengthen out your spine, soften your knees, and step back to a high plank and hold. Create a ton of breath and stack your shoulders right on top of your wrists. So send energy out through your heels to the back of the room and then reach through the crown of your head forward so your body gets even longer. Pick up your lowest belly and breathe louder. Now lower halfway down, elbow height. You can drop your knees if you want. Upward facing dog, lift your chest. Downward facing dog, lift your hips. Breathe in together. Breathe out. Make it loud and purposeful. Breathe in, fill up. Exhale all the way out. One more, fill up. Expand your ribs. Empty out. Look forward and step, feet to hands. Halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Shoulder blades together. Fold down. Rise up to standing. Long inhale all the way up to your fingertips. Fold down. Halfway lift, soften your knees. Tailbone back. Chaturanga, hands to the floor. Upward facing dog, wide open chest. Downward facing dog, lift your hips. Breathe in together. Breathe out. Sink your toes and your heels. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more, fill yourself up, fill your whole body, then empty all the way out, and step or jump to the head of your mat. Halfway lift, lengthen, fold down. Rise up to standing, a big inhale that lifts your chest, forward fold. Halfway, get long, chaturanga, keep the length in your spine as you lower. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 big breaths, make them happen. Connect to the person next to you. Sink your thumbs down into the floor. Take one more breath in. Empty out. Then jump to the head of your mat. Halfway lifts. Bow down. Chair pose and pause. Sit back in your chair. Reach up. Keep your breath going. Make it really powerful. So even as you fine-tune your chair pose and pull in your low belly and lift your toes off the mat, your breath is still here. Shoulder blades together on your back, squeeze them in. Yes, good adjustments. One more breath and reach, forward fold. Halfway lift, stretch out long. Chaturanga. If you're jumping back, make sure it's to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot through, warrior 1. Rise up, a huge breath in. Chaturanga, hands to the mat. Upward facing. Downward facing. Step your left foot through. Connect your big toe into the ground and reach. High to low plank. Add more breath into it. Make it light with breath. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Good. Breathe in. Exhale. There it is. Breathe in. Fill up. Empty out. Fill the space with that sound. One more breath in. Empty all the way out. And jump to your hands. Halfway lift, knit your ribs together, fold. Chair pose for 1 breath, sit back and reach, forward fold. Halfway lift, stretch out long, chaturanga. Flat palms on the earth, press them down, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot through, warrior 1. Rise up, lift your heart up and back, chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot through. Move with your breath. Use your inhale to reach up. Exhale, chaturanga. One breath at a time, one pose at a time. Up dog, downward facing dog. Breathe in together, breathe out. Big breath in, fill up. Empty it out. One more, let out a sigh on this one. Step or jump, feet to hands. Halfway lifts, fold down. Chair pose, go for it. Low belly in, forward fold. Halfway, long spine, chaturanga. Can you hear your neighbor breathing? Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot through, warrior one. Feet in the ground, hands in the air. High to low. Inhale up, fill your chest. Exhale down. Left foot, step through, rise up, reach up. High to low. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Send your thigh bones to the back of the room. Breathe in. Breath out. Heels down towards the floor. One more breath in. Empty all the way out. And then jump to the head of your mat. Halfway lifts. Fold down. Chair pose, deepest one yet. Send your tailbone back. Fold. Halfway lifts. Chaturanga. Squeeze your elbows by your ribs. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot warrior one and stay. Step and rise up. So now you've got a little bit of wiggle room to land in your body, so fine tune your pose. Press the outer edge of your left foot down. Then work on squaring your hips to the front of the room as best you can and bring your breath back into it because it got quiet. Just notice that you lost the rhythm and then you bring it back again. Imagine that the whole back leg is doing just as much work as your lunging leg. Bring them together. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Now open up to warrior two. Face the purple wall. Same inner thigh action. Squeeze them together and take a nice deep lunge. Add more breath. Reach through your fingertips a lot, like you're going to touch the windows in the back wall at the same time. Now stack your knee right on top of your ankle, flip your front palm, reach forward, reverse the warrior. Stay in your lunge. Stay committed to building strength, to waking up your legs, to wrapping your muscle into your bone. Lots of breath. Can you rotate your heart up to the ceiling a little bit more? Wide open chest. Reach up and back and straighten your front leg, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot through, warrior one, rise up and stay. The breath still flows. So wherever the breath flows, the energy will go, so your pose will get lighter, a little more lifted, a little more connected if you've got your breath working with you. So you do the fine tuning, pull your low belly way in and up so you can send your tailbone to the ground and your right hip forward. It all shifts at one time. Beautiful. Warrior two, open up. And take up a lot of space on your mat. So there's that comfortable space where you land in warrior two and you're like, okay, I'm kind of here in warrior two. And then there's a space where you have to do work. Get in the space where you have to do work. Shoulder blades right on top of your hips and then stay deep in your lunge. Yeah. Now flip your front palm, reach forward, reverse. Fill the side of your body with breath. Make your back leg super active. Send the outer edge of your leg straight to the back of the room. Reach up and back and straighten your leg. Cartwheel your hands, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Let's do lion's breath. Stick out your tongue on your exhale. Breathe in together. Yeah, make it nice and loud. Breathe in. One more, fill up. Step your right foot through for crescent lunge. Right foot crescent, rise up. So for some reason, crescent lunge is that pose where everybody holds their breath when they come into it, so start breathing again. And sink down into what's going on in your toes. The pinky toe on your back foot in the ground, just as much as your big toe, and stack your heel over the ball of your back foot so your whole back leg is super powerful. Hands up to the sky. So for some of you, stacking your heel over the ball of your back foot means that you came out of your lunge a little bit. So go deeper in your front leg and keep your heel up in the back. Yeah, good adjustments. Now hook your thumbs and lift your chest up and back. Take it into a baby back bend. So the space is just behind your heart that lifts up and back. Everything else stays quiet, stays engaged just behind your heart. Take one more breath here. Look at the wall behind you. Hands to heart center. Pull your belly in. Twist to the right. Pause with palm to palm so you can create space and lengthen your spine, and then open your arms when that space is available. So you can have your bottom arm on the outside of your knee or have your fingers templed on the floor on the inside of your ankle. Then add your breath back in. Just notice, anytime your pose starts to get heavy or feel like you're working really, really hard, bring your breath in. Don't do hard, do easy. Make it a little easier. Low belly, way in. Bring it into the twist. And come back up to crescent lunge on an inhale. Lift your hands up high. Warrior two. Take extended side angle. Bring your elbow to your thigh or your fingertips to a block at your front arch. So for today, reach your top hand straight up to the sky. Instead of to where the wall and ceiling meets, just straight up so you can drop your shoulder blade down your back towards your spine. Way down and in. Now go for a half bind. Top arm around your back by your hip and peel your chest open to the ceiling. So notice if taking that half bind means that your tailbone's pointing behind you, can you point it towards your heel, your back heel? And then if the full bind's available for you, go for it. Right arm underneath your front thigh, but if that means that your chest is collapsing to the floor, just stick with the half bind instead. Keep breathing. Make it soften with breath and peel your chest open a little bit more. Nice done. Is your back foot doing as much work as the front? Make it work for you. You've got one more breath. Look up at the ceiling. High to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together. Breathe out. Big breath in. Let it out. Sink your thumbs into the ground. Take one more breath in. Empty out. Left foot crescent lunge. Step and rise up. So the breath still flows, and then you can fine-tune the pose as you need to. Sink the ball of your front foot into the ground so much that you can lift your left toes right now and then just place them down. So it's the four corners of your foot doing the work instead of your toes gripping the mat really tight. Stack your back heel and go up and back. You've got this powerful foundation working for you now, so go up and back. All this space that lifts your chest up to the ceiling. One more inhale. Look at the wall behind you. Go back, go back, go back. Hands to heart center. Pull your belly in. Twist to the left. So pause with palm to palm. Get really long. Get your belly involved, and then open your arms. Lots of space. So now there's room for breath. Bring it in. Very active right hamstring. Press it up to the sky. So you've got all this room to wring out your spine because your legs are working for you. Then come back up to crescent lunge on an inhale. Lift up high. Warrior two. Open up. Lots of breath. Eyes focused on one spot, so maybe gazing out over your middle fingertip or just a spot in front of you that's not moving around. Take extended side angle. Elbow or fingertips. You choose the variation, then right hand straight up to the sky so you can tuck your shoulder blade into your back like you want it to kiss your spine. Like it could almost meet your other shoulder blade. Tailbone down. Yes, right there. Top arm around your back, half bind. Then you can kind of feel with your hand where your tailbone's pointing. Tuck your tailbone and point it straight towards your back heel. And then go for the full bind if it's there for you. And if it's not, stick with the space in your half bind. More breath. The breath makes it easier and lighter. Don't do hard, do easy. One more inhale, full expression. Look up. Chaturanga, hands to the floor. Upward facing dog, shoulder blades back. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together. And breathe out. Sink your heart down towards the floor. Breathe in. Breathe out, thumbs into the mat. Take one more breath in. Sigh it out. Step or jump, feet to hands. Halfway lifts. Fold down. Chair pose, sit deep and reach. Sit way down in chair like it's your favorite pose and you're super excited that you get to do chair pose right now, and send your tailbone to the back edge of your mat. So instead of the wall behind you, straight down so your low back has a ton of space. Now hands to heart center, twist to the right. Bring your breath into it before you open your arms. So bring lots of breath, lengthen out your spine with your inhales, then open your arms. So there's no rush to land in a final variation of the pose that you're going to take. You've got time to get your whole body involved, to get every single breath involved. Sit a little bit lower, hips lower than your heart so your whole spine can ring out. Beautiful. Come back up to chair and an inhale. Reach up high. Forward fold. Separate your feet hip width and take your first two fingers around your big toes. And bend your knees a lot and draw your heart to your shins. So your elbows can come out to the side and you can melt your shoulder blades together on your back. Bring your breath back into it. Okay, so just about everybody has a block. Keep your first two fingers around your right big toe and put your left hand on a block at the upper corner of your mat. So you can choose the setting. I like a higher setting because it gives me more room. Then lift your right leg straight out to the right, like you're gonna hook your heel on your neighbor's hip. Yeah, lean into your block. It helps if you take the block out a little bit more to the left. Beautiful. Flex your foot, belly way in. Take a huge breath in. Lift your foot an inch higher. Then place your foot down and rock out your hips. Switch sides. So block in your right hand, or water ball in your right hand. First two fingers around your left big toe. Take your legs straight out to the side. So your ankle and your knee and your hip are all in one straight line. Gaze fixed on one point. Bring your breath into it. It'll get easier with the breath. Beautiful. Take one more breath. Lift it up. Forward fold. Rock it out. Ugh. Yeah. Bring your feet back together. Big toes touch. Space between your heels. Inhale to a halfway lift. And bow down. Get long. Chair pose. Utkatasana. Sit way down in it. Send your hips lower and then lift your heart up higher, like you're going to send your heart out the window so there's room for you to pull your low belly in. Way in off your thighs, to the front side of your spine. Then hands to heart center, twist left. So you pause with the palm to palm and make the space, create the length, and then open your arms. No rush. Everything a fluid movement from one thing to the next. Bring more breath into it and lift your toes off the ground. Yeah. Come back up to chair for one inhale. Lift up high. Forward fold. Separate your feet again and step on your palms for gorilla. So toes all the way up to your wrists. You can bend your knees as much as you need to make that happen. Let your head hang. Let your neck be easy. Lots of space. Release your hands and go for crow pose at the head of your mat. So everyone in here is totally capable of jumping back to chaturanga from crow. So before you're like, no, I don't do that, you can. You totally can. Crow at the head of your mat. Spread your fingers out super wide. And then bring your knees as close as you can into your armpits. You're like a tiny little ball. So the more you hug in, the lighter your body gets. The more space you'll have. Flex your feet way up to your butt. Toes awake. Then look forward, and like you've always done it, you just shoot your legs back. Chaturanga. Nice. It's okay if it's a belly flop. That's one more step closer. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. You got to get to the belly flop stage first before it looks really awesome. Take a breath in through your nose. Let it out through your mouth. Huge breath in. Fill up. And empty. One more. Fill yourself all the way up. Exhale all the way out. Then make your way, feet to hands. Halfway lifts. Fold down. Rise all the way up to standing. And reach through your fingertips. Take eagle pose on the right. Right arm under, right leg over. So you do all the lunging and the twisting and the wringing out and creating more fire from the inside out so you can land in the balancing series and really land in your practice. Now is where everything can come into center. Now is where your breath really comes into play. So fill up your entire body. There's two things that you get to focus on, that one still point and your breath. Super simple. Slowly, mindfully transition to airplane. Send your right leg back and unravel your arms behind you. It's slow and mindful. So your transition is just as thoughtful, just as engaged as the pose before and after. A few of you can turn the outer edge of your right hip down just a little bit so your hips are square to the ground, and then pick up your low belly to create support for that. Bring your hands to heart center. Open up to half moon. Left hand down to your block, right arm up to the sky. Lots of breath. So the block is there to create more space for you. You don't have to use it like a crutch. You can create it to build structure in your pose. So both of your side waists are really long. And your foot flexes up a little bit higher, and then you can get light on your block. So you've already done all the building blocks. You've created the space in the pose, and then you can get light. And bring your left hand up to your heart, maybe. Beautiful. Take one more inhale. Press through your heel, then forward fold. Shake it out. Rise up to standing. Hands up to the ceiling, left side eagle, left arm under, left leg over. So your breath and your focal points, super simple. So when your mind starts to pull you out and take you somewhere else, you've got those two things to bring you back over and over. Set a little bit deeper and pull your left hip back so your hips are square. Yeah. Now eyes stay on that one spot, airplane. Light and lifted. Pick up your low belly on your way back so your body gets even lighter in transition. Beautiful. Flex your foot. Drive it to the back of the room. Long straight leg, Laura. Press, press, press. Yes. Hands to heart center. Half moon. Right hand down to your block. Left arm up to the sky. So use the block to create that space, a really long right sideways instead of forcing your hand to the ground, and then you break the structure of the pose, and then you can get light and lift up and off of it. Because you've used the building blocks from the ground up, and then it gets light. Peel your top hip open a little bit more. Yes. One more breath. Forward fold. Rise up to standing. Standing bow or dancer's pose. So if you're taking standing bow, make sure that the soft crease of your elbow faces out. And if you need a strap for dancers, you've got a whole basket full of them. Take your pose. So if you're doing the in-between, I'm kind of deciding what pose I might maybe do. Just pick one and go, because you have an opportunity to do the other one shortly. Focus on sending your knee straight to the back of the room. So it's tempting to bring your knee out to the side so you can lift your leg up a little bit higher, but that takes the structure away from the pose. So turn the outer edge of your right hip down and send your knee straight to the back of the room. You've got 2 more breaths. Big, full breaths that everybody else can hear. And then switch sides. Left side, standing bow or dancers, and go. Knees straight back, fingertips straight forward if you're in standing bow, elbows straight forward if you're in dancers. Light and lifted, your whole body narrow. Outer edge of your left hip down, soften your standing knee to create stability there instead of a locked joint. One more big breath, wide open, release. Right side, second set. Go right into it. If your heart's beating really fast, use your breath to slow it down. If your mind is going somewhere else, bring it back. Just notice that you went on vacation and your head went somewhere else and come back. What's going on in your standing foot? Can you slow down that shift from left to right and make it really conscious and purposeful? One more big breath. Lift your chest. Release. Left side. One more. Eyes glued to one spot, so you take that extra balance piece out of it and you can focus on what's going on in your body. Standing big toe into the ground, outer edge of your hip down towards the floor. Nice, Jill. A little bit more, a little bit more. Yeah. One more inhale. Release. Right side tree pose. Go right into it. Use tree as your break for you to catch your breath. Right foot above or below your left knee. Hands start at your heart. And you pause and fill your entire body up with breath. And interlace your fingers and send your hands forward and up to the ceiling. So a few of you can pull your ribs in so your torso gets tall. And then if your shoulders are way up by your ears, bend your elbows a little bit so they can drop down. Lots of breath. Now's the time for it. Now's when it all comes back into center. One more inhale, get really tall, press the ground away, switch sides, left side tree. Anywhere but on your knee joint's a good place for your foot, and then hands start at your heart. Then you can interlace your fingers the opposite way and send your hands up or choose a different hand position. This one's your choice. Ribs together, your lowest ribs tucked down into your torso. One more big breath, really tall, lift up, release. Feet together at the head of your mat if they're not there already. And inhale, reach your hands up high. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen out your spine, get long. Chaturanga, step or jump back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in together. Breathe out. Big breath in, fill up, expand, empty out. Squeeze all up the air. One more, breathe in. Empty all the way out. Right foot warrior one. One big breath to reach up to the ceiling. Then warrior two, open up to the purple wall. So take up extra space on this one and check in with your front knee. Odds are it's not going straight ahead, so if it's going slightly over to the left, then turn your foot slightly to the left so that your knee and your foot are in line. Now flip your front palm, reach forward, reverse. Long side waist. Left arm around your back so you can check in. Is your tailbone pointing to the ground, or can you pull in your belly more and make that happen? Now reach back and straighten your front leg, make it really long, and move to triangle. Right hand down to your block on the outside of your foot. Left hand up to the sky. Go for length in your side waist. So even if you don't normally use a block or you normally have it on its lowest setting, give yourself a little bit more space to move around this morning. More space to lengthen out your right side waist. Bring your breath into it. Lots of breath. Send your exhales down into your feet so they're totally connected to your mat. Then use your top hand to rise all the way up to standing. Let it pull you all the way upright. Turn your toes to face the purple wall. Hands on your hips. So make sure your toes are either facing straight ahead or they're slightly pigeon-toed. And then hinge down. Send the crown of your head down, tailbone straight up to the sky. And bring your hands down to the floor. So if you feel comfortable taking a headstand from here, you're more than welcome to. If you'd rather hang out in your fold, awesome, stay right here. Those of you working on your headstand, go slow, like you're moving underwater, so each part of your body gets to be part of the pose. Headstands, flex your feet, come down just as slowly as you went up. Nice. Everyone, flat palms on the earth. Press and find a long, flat back. Hands on your hips and stay there at the halfway point. Hands on hips, pull your belly in and reach your heart straight forwards. Really long spine. Now use your low belly and your inner thighs to rise all the way up to standing. Pull it in the midline to rise up. Yeah, turn both feet to face the front of the room. Now step your back foot in about a foot. So you've still got plenty of distance between your feet, but now both feet are facing forward. Hands on your hips. Lift your chest high and hinge down. Bring your heart to your shin. So you can keep your hands on your hips or bring your hands down to a block. Go for length in your spine. So if folding all the way down to your leg means that you're shortening out your spine, you're losing a bit of space for your breath, and stay up a little bit and use your block for support and get your spine longer. Right hip pulls to the back of the room, draw it straight back behind you. Awesome breath, keep it going. Block in your left hand on the highest setting, right arm straight out from your shoulder and pause. So we'll go for twisting triangle, but for right now, arms straight out from your shoulder like you're gonna pat your neighbor on their shoulder blades. You can even look at your hand and see if you're gonna pat them on their butt instead and move your arm towards the windows a little bit more. And now ring out. So the block is there to create more space and invite your entire spine into the twist. So every inhale, get a little bit longer. And every exhale, wring yourself out just like a dish towel. Flush everything out. Again, get longer. Inhale, twist on your exhale. Wring it out. One more time. Breathe in, stretch. Twist for your whole exhale. Then hands on the floor and step back. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in through your nose and sigh it out. Good. Soften your knees. Breath in. Breath out. One more. Fill it up. Empty all the way out. Left foot warrior one. Rise up. A big inhale to lift your chest up to the ceiling. And warrior two. Open up. Deep, juicy warrior two. Make the adjustment in your front foot if you need to. If your knee's going slightly one way, just follow it with your foot. So your joints can be in line. Then flip your front palm, reach forward, reverse your warrior. Right arm around your back to check it out and see if you need to point your tailbone straight down to the floor. Keep your low belly way in. Navel into the front side of your spine and reach back. Straighten your leg. Triangle. Right hand straight up to the sky. Reach yourself apart in every direction so your arms reach apart and your fingertips reach apart. Even your toes. Put your hand on the block. Yeah, there you go. And then palm faces the yellow wall. Good. Shoulder blade down. Beautiful. Press into your feet a lot. The outer edge of your right foot way down into the ground. Now use your top hand to pull you all the way up to standing. And turn your toes to face the yellow wall. Interlace your fingers at your low back or put a strap or a towel between your hands. So you choose which option you want. If you're taking the strap or towel, make sure that your hands are close enough together that your hands can't quite spill overhead completely. There's some tension. Now hinge down. Let your hands spill overhead. And softness in your knees. So send your tailbone up to the sky and then create a bend in your knees so it's a counterbalance. Add your breath into it. This pose works really well when you soften everything and let your breath do the work for you. Instead of trying to force your arms down, let your breath do the work. And slowly release your hands to the ground. Press into the floor, come into a long, flat back. Hands on your hips and stay there so you can create length. Reach your heart forward, tailbone back, belly way in. Use your belly to draw you all the way up to standing. Inner thighs, pull them in, all the way up. Turn your feet to face the bricks. So you want your feet to be separated like they're on train tracks so there's room for you to square your hips forward, because if they're in line, there's no room for your right hip to pull forward. And hinge down. Long spine all the way down. Then you choose your hand position on the block, on your hips, whatever you need to do to get your hips to stay square to the back of the room. You can soften your toes. Yeah, right there. Lots of breath. So you find the tightest spot on your body, whether that be your hamstring right now or someplace else. Maybe it's the back of your right calf, and send your breath to that particular spot to open it up. Now, right hand on your block on the highest setting, left arm straight out from your shoulder. So your block can be right in front of your foot or right next to your foot. And then wring yourself out. On an exhale, twist open to the purple wall. Your hips stay square to the back of the room. Go for the twist in your spine, all the way from your low belly up to your chest, the whole thing. Then inhale, get long, and twist on your exhale, wring it out. Again, get long on your inhale, lengthen, twist a tiny bit more on your exhale. You've got one more, lengthen out, get really long, twist the whole thing out, out. Chaturanga, hands to the floor. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in and let it out. Big inhale, fill yourself all the way up and empty out. One more, fill up together, empty together. Come through to staff pose, jump through to sit. Long, tall spine, flex your feet like you're gonna leave footprints on the bricks. Then reach your arms forward and lower your back to the mat. One bone at a time. You guys are moving so slow, I love it. Bridge pose, bend your knees and plant your feet. And put a block between your thighs so your legs stay hip width distance apart, and you can focus more on squeezing the block than squeezing your butt cheeks. Squeeze in on the block. Lift yourself up. 2 flat feet on the earth. Your big toes completely connected to the ground. Then interlace your fingers at your low back and tuck your shoulder heads underneath you, or take cactus arms. Whatever makes it easier for you to tuck your shoulder heads underneath you. Like your shoulder blades are going to lift your heart up to the ceiling further. Take one more breath in, lift your heart. Release. Lower your hips down. Take your knees side to side. One more bridge. You can choose to keep the block or take the block away. Up to you. Rise up. And bring a lot more breath into it, because as you move into the back bends, your body needs that fuel from your breath. It'll make it easier and lighter for you to land in back bends when breath is there. 2 more big, loud breaths. Big toes into the floor. And lower your hips down. Take your knees side to side. So block can stay there for wheel if you want it to. Tuck your fingertips under your shoulders and rise up. Elbows together like they're in a narrow hallway. Thighs stay parallel with one another. Rise up. Fire up your breath. Make the pose effortless and light because you've got your breath on your side, because your neighbor's breathing and helping you out, because you're breathing and helping them out. Take one more inhale and tuck your chin and come down. Breathe in together. Breathe out together. Second wheel, go up. So before your mind can tell you why you don't need to do another one, why you don't need another bridge or a wheel, you just go and you make it happen. Let your body do the talking. So it's bridge or wheel, and you get to choose, but you stay involved in the practice. You stay involved with what's going on, so you contribute to everybody as a whole. One more breath. Tuck your chin and come down. Inhale together. Exhale together. Last one, go for it. Make it light and lifted, like your body just floats up into the back bend and you didn't even know what happened, it's so light. Like you didn't even know what happened. It's just up and it's there and you're letting the pose happen. Feet in the ground. Fingertips connected to the earth. 2 more breaths. Light and lifted and easy. Then tuck your chin and come down. Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, knees open wide. Rest your hands wherever you want to rest them, and then keep your eyes open so you can stay in the space. Stay in what's going on. Awesome breath, guys. Keep it up. Use your breath to slow your heart down and create space between your thoughts, whatever you need right now. And draw your knees together and hug them into your chest. Rock around on your low back. And send your legs straight up into the air and put your block on its second setting between your calves. Block on the second setting. Squeeze in on your block. Feet flex straight up to the sky. Like there's also a block on your feet and you don't want to drop it, so press your big toes away and curl your pinky toes back towards your face. Now lower both your legs 30 degrees. Squeeze your block. Squeeze in on it, make it stable. Another 30. Navel way down in like it's going to touch the mat. And hover your feet just above the ground and press through your heels. Get really, really long. Legs back up in the air. Long, straight legs, flex your feet. 30 degrees. You can tuck your fingertips under your butt if you need a little more support for your back. Another 30. Keep pressing, keep breathing. Hover your feet just above the ground and drive your feet to the front of the room. Legs back up in the air. One more set. 30. 30 more. Keep breathing. Hover your feet just above the ground. Reach, get your legs really long. Now swing your legs side to side like a pendulum with the block. Side to side like a pendulum. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees into your chest. Ugh. Lucky you guys with the cork and bamboo blocks. Those are the best ones for that. Rock around. Then rock forward and back 3 times. Come up into boat pose. Start with your hands on the backs of your thighs for a boat. Just everybody start there with your hands on the backs of your thighs so you can really lift your chest up, really wide collarbones, flex your feet, and then bring your hands out to the side. So you build the integrity of the pose from what's touching the ground up, and then you can expand out. Breathe. Light and lifted like there's a string on your heart pulling you straight up. One more breath. Knees into your chest, back and forth 3 times. Make yourself a tiny little ball, so it's like your whole spine rolls back and forth, then boat pose. Hands start on the backs of your thighs. Build the structure, lift it way up. Beautiful. Now bring your arms out to the side. Flex your feet. One more big breath. Whoa, back and forth 3 times. I'm going to talk like Darth Vader for the rest of the class. Back and forth 3 times. One more boat pose. One more. So take a risk on this one. It's the last one. Take a risk. You can straighten out your legs. You can bring your arms straight out to the side. Do whatever you want. Whatever you know you can't quite sustain for more than a couple breaths. Knees into your chest. Rock back and forth. And make your way to downward facing dog. Any way you want to get there. So this down dog's wide awake. This one's right here in this moment. All of your fingertips on the ground, your thumbs pressing into the earth so all of your weight can travel back into your hips and out of your shoulders. Send your right leg up to the sky. And draw your right knee to your right wrist for half pigeon. So your knee should be right in front of your hip, and for a few of you, your knee's kind of sneaking out to the right. Just bring it in line with your hip joint. And everyone has a block, so you can put that underneath your hip as well. So speaking for flexible people in the room, I know that it's easy for me to kind of like melt to the floor in this pose, and putting a block there builds more structure into it and makes it more challenging. You can create more space in your body and a stronger container when you use that block to neutralize your pelvis. Yeah, Laura with the towel, that's perfect. Every time your mind starts to wander out of the room, use your breath to tether it back to your body. It'll leave over and over again, but you just notice that and then you bring it back. Downward facing dog, shake it out. Good stuff. Reach your left leg up to the sky. Knee to your left wrist, half pigeon. So you've got your block, your towel underneath your left hip, so your pelvis is neutral, and you can turn your right hip to face the front of the room. And then make your way to the floor. Pick one spot in your body right now that feels tight and send your breath there to loosen it up, to make more space. Downward facing dog. Take one long, slow breath in through your nose, and a long exhale through your mouth, and make your way to sit. Come to staff pose. Long legs straight out in front, and then bend your knees just a little bit so you can sit right on your sit bones. You can even untuck your butt muscles so your tailbone points straight back, then hands straight up to the sky. And fold forward as far as you can go with a long, straight spine. And when your spine starts to curve, that's your stopping point. So it's going to be different for everybody in the room. You go until you can't quite keep that long spine, and you stop right there. Keep reaching your tailbone to the back of the room, shoulder blades together on your back. Bring your lowest belly in and up to support the whole front side of your body. Lift your arms up. Yeah. Now round your spine. Round your spine like a banana back. Just fold over your legs. Make your spine as long as you possibly can, from your tailbone all the way up to the crown of your head. And slowly rise back up, sit up tall, and plant your palms behind your hips for reverse tabletops. Fingertips face forward, then lift your hips up, toes point down. Fingertips face forward, so you've got flat palms on the earth. And if it bothers your low back, you can certainly bend your knees and put 2 flat feet on the earth instead. Lift your hips up, up, up. One more breath, lift them up an inch higher. Release, lower your hips down. Reach your arms to the bricks. And lower your back to the mat. Legs in the air for Viparita Karani. And if you're headed to shoulder stand, go to plow pose first. Hang out and plow for a few breaths. So legs long overhead, and then you've got time to put your hands on your low back and bring the sides of your pinky fingers together. Then send your legs up into the air for shoulder stand. So you build the structure of the pose from the ground up. Feet are still active, your toes are still awake, then pick one spot that you're looking at that's still. So probably your big toe is a good place, unless your legs are moving around, and it can be a place on the ceiling. Moving target. Just one still spot, and give your body the opportunity to drain all the way out. Bring lots of breath into your body here so your breath can travel all the way up to your feet and then all the way back down to your lungs. Shoulder stands, make your way to plow. Deaf man's pose. Bend your knees and gently squeeze the sides of your head. Send your tailbone straight up to the sky. So there's still plenty of space for breath to happen. Super long spine. Hands to the floor for breaks and slowly unravel one piece at a time. All the way back to the earth. Hug your knees into your chest, give them a squeeze. And take happy baby, soles of the feet up to the sky. And if grabbing a hold of your feet means your shoulder blades are all the way off the ground, then put flat palms on the backs of your thighs instead, so your whole back and the back of your head can rest on the ground. Rock back and forth. Love tap your neighbor. Babies are not cautious when they roll around on the ground. They just kind of do whatever. And same pose but still, dead bug. Draw your tailbone down to the ground, your knees down by the sides of your ribs. Bring your right knee into your chest, let your left leg go long. And take your knee over to the purple wall for supine twist, and scoot your bottom hip towards the yellow wall. So it might be nice to put a block underneath your right knee if it's floating up in space. Give it some support. Or you can tuck your top foot behind your bottom knee to give it support that way. Melt your right shoulder blade down into the ground. Bring your knee back to center, hug it into your chest. And switch sides. Left knee in, right leg long. Take your knee to the yellow wall and scoot your bottom hip towards the purple wall. Bring your knee back into center, squeeze it into your chest. And we've got one final pose before Shavasana, and that's fish pose. So everybody has a block, and you'll do supported fish pose and put your block on your back so that the top part of the block comes between your shoulder blades, and the bottom part is right at the base of your ribs. Bottom part of the block is right at the base of your ribs. So you want your butt and your head to both touch the ground at the same time. And if your head doesn't touch, you can put the block on a lower setting or just ask me for another block and I can grab you an extra one. So it takes a little finagling and moving around. So take your time, move it around, get it just right. You have the option to have your legs straight out in front or your legs in Supta Baddha Konasana. That's an option too. So it's not very often, even in yoga class, that you'll sit for a long period of time with your heart wide open and exposed. So while you're here, focus on your breath. And anything that comes up at all, just let it come, observe, notice what it is, and let it pass. See if you can take a back seat to what's going on in your mind and just simply watch the traffic of your thoughts going one at a time instead of being involved and trying to stop or hold on to what's going on. Just stay and breathe. So now you have the option to stay in fish pose or make your way to Shavasana. So you roll off the side of your block. Forgot the big one. Roll off the side and just move your blocks out of the way and then come onto a flat back. Or you can stay in fish pose if what's going on sounds really awesome right now. Feels really awesome right now. And there's a cold stone at the head of your mat, or almost there at the head of your mat. So you can put that cold stone wherever you want. Get out all the last bits of movement in your body. Your feet relax out, fingertips at ease, even your rib cage. Settle it down into your body, down towards the floor. Be easy. Deepen your breath. Bring some movement back into your hands and your feet. And reach your hands straight overhead and stretch out long, fingertips to your toes. And melt into the floor. Plant your feet on the earth and rock onto your right side. Create a new intention from this brand new space, something that you can take with you into the outside world, into the rest of your weekend. And with your eyes still closed, press down and rise up into that new intention, the new space. Inhale, reach your hands high overhead. Exhale, thumbs to your heart. We'll finish our class together with one final Om. Take a deep breath in. Breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. The light within me honors and greatly respects the light within each one of you. Namaste. Awesome class, guys. Thanks for coming. So, if anybody has any questions about anything that we've got going on, holiday schedule, Caleb's class next Saturday is at 11:30. I would love to see you there. And we've still got space in 40 days as well. So if you're interested in that, sign up. It's only $99, and the group is starting to get pretty packed, so you want to sign up now, sooner rather than later. All right, I'll see you soon. Have an awesome rest of your day.